Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is the Sentinel watching over Geekdom, and welcome back to Sentinel Reviews. Today, we're finally here. The third story of the Mila Trilogy, and the final story in the Six Charley arc. Blue Forgotten Planet. Released in September of 2009, written and directed by Nicholas Briggs. Blue Forgotten Planet stars Colin Baker as the Doctor and India Fisher as Mila and Charlie Pollard. Also featured in the cast are J.J. Field, Alex Newman, and Michael Maloney. There is a blanket spoiler warning in place. Yes, I always do this because I'm unscripted and I may potentially talk about spoilers, but this one I am kind of sort of enforcing more because I will be talking about spoilers. There's no way to go around it because the spoilers are some of the best parts of this story and some of the biggest talking parts of this story. Also, there is a lot that happens in this story, so I may miss something. Just know that may happen. And the first thing I want to talk about is the pacing in this story is really good. You know, when you have a story that's just crammed to the brim with content like this story is, content, plot threads, etc., there's always the risk of something being underdone, you know? There's a chance of something being rushed, there's a chance of something not being fully developed. That's not the case with Blue Forgotten Planet here. Everything is handled really well. Every plot thread gets significance, everything feels developed really well, the pacing is really good. And why do I always talk like there's more? I really need to know how to end my lists. But yeah, no, just like I said, the pacing is good and everything feels fully realized. The plot of this story is the Doctor and Charlie arrive on Earth at some point in its future where humanity has, or the Doctor and Mila, I should say. The Doctor and Mila arrive on Earth at some point in its future where humanity has almost been wiped out to the brink of extinction, and they are struck with this disease that sort of eliminates their higher brain functions, and they resort to a state of simple-minded barbarism. And this is only the beginning of the story, because as the story develops, this is more a side effect of everything going on, and the plot thread is eventually cut off, but not in a way that's unsatisfying, because it tapers off really well. And they meet a few characters. Yeah. Oh, there is so much I want to go on, and it's hard talking about which point to talk first. And they come across several characters who, you know, have been treated for this, they call it the madness. There is one character, a soldier, who is very reminiscent of the soldier character in the Fifth Doctor story, Kinda, which is my favorite Fifth Doctor story at the moment. You know, how he's sort of embracing this madness, and he's being very brutal, almost sort of dictatorial. You know, just sort of that kind of character. And then you have the person who is making these documentaries in order to try and drum up sympathy so that he can get the human race treated. And then you have this woman who's helping him, and she gives a really good performance. Like, there are moments where she's supposed to freak out and just be terrified, and she does really good at that. And there's some really great tense moments. And then you have her husband, who was sort of the rebel. You know, when he realized, oh, this treatment for the madness is for the select few and not everyone, he walked away. And he was good too, and his death was really shocking. But I'll circle back to that because that will come into play later in the story. And the Viyrans are back. Now, I didn't really properly explain the Viyrans in Patient Zero, so I'll try to explain them better here. The Viyrans are robots, and they were created with one mission in mind: destroy the Amethyst viruses. Amethyst was the name of the virus containment station in Patient Zero. So yeah, after the explosion of the Dalek ship at the end of Patient Zero and the dispersal of the viruses through the time vortex, the Viyrans have been tracking them down and completing their mission, destroying the Amethyst viruses and destroying any trace or record of them. And the Viyrans are really intimidating. They are really good, because it's one of those great sci-fi concepts. You see it all the time, but it's something that, as far as I'm concerned, always works. They are logic without the inhibition of emotion. So, when something happens and the Viyrans make the logical decision for handling it, it's not necessarily the moral decision, like they traced one of the Amethyst viruses to this time period in Earth's history. And the medicine they invented to treat it is what caused the madness. But, because they weren't hindered by morality, they didn't stop to think about that. And furthermore, what I like is that the Viyrans, Nicholas Briggs in his writing works really hard to make sure, they're not malicious. They may do things that contradict, that may go against morality, but they are not malicious. For example, they decide that the virus is uncurable, so in order to leave no trace of it and no record of it, they decide to wipe out the human race. But they change their minds when the doctor finds the cure to the virus. They let him cure it. So yeah, the Viyrans are, just as I said, a really good concept. You get the sense of their power every time they're on screen. Every time they show up in the story, you are intimidated by them. And also they have a really manipulative streak to them. Like, again, just the point of their logic. They made up this story to the documentary filmmaker that they had the means to cure the human race, but they needed his help. So the Viyrans gave him their technology to film these documentaries, when in reality, they were using their technology to perform scans of the human race to see who was infected and who wasn't. And there's another really depressing revelation about this concept, because it's realized that this virus, in this particular instance they're tracking down, may be non-lethal, but their mission parameter is destroy the Amethyst viruses. And that's mostly what the Viyrans are throughout the story, so I'm going to try and go on to the other things. Colin Baker is great as always. I feel like there's not much to say, but really in terms of performances, this story belongs to India Fisher. Because she's doing double time, she has to play both Mila and Charlie. After the events of Patient Zero, the Viyrans cured Charlie, and they had her go on missions. And which I believe is a tie to her spinoff, Charlotte Pollard, which I have not heard. And, she does great at balancing both of them. She knows who Mila is, she knows who Charlie is, and their scenes together are really spectacular in the making of, in the behind the scenes even. I think both Nicholas Briggs and Colin Baker said that she did those scenes in one take. And they are so good, which, to sort of talk about it and to talk about what makes this story so good, I am going to start veering into spoiler territory. As I mentioned, the Viyrans came up with a plan to wipe out the human race, and the Doctor sort of stopped them by putting their explosive device in a time bubble. However, this time bubble is incredibly unstable. Like I said, one of the side characters we meet dies, and that's what happens here. He gets hit by the time bubble, and he begins accelerating and reversing through the timeline rapidly, and he either ages backwards out of existence, or he ages forwards to death. It happened so fast, I'm not really sure what happened. But then the Doctor finds the cure to this virus, and he tries to set about curing it, but the time bubble is still unstable and causing all sorts of problems. And his reaction to the two Charlies is great. He says, you need to leave the TARDIS because no matter what happens, I can't trust either of you. And there is some fantastic moments here, because even though he says our travels together are done, I can't trust you anymore, Charlie and Mila realize what he's doing may destroy the TARDIS, and that he actually asked them to leave so that they wouldn't get hurt in the process. And Charlie tells the Doctor where she's from, how she's from his future. And where to go? Like I said, Charlie and Mila have this confrontation, and it's really great because because Mila can no longer be Charlie, which makes sense, but she doesn't want to be Mila anymore because Mila was captured by the Daleks and experimented on and tortured for years. And then we get to what I think is the best part of this story. Ignoring the Doctor's warning, Charlie and Mila go back into the TARDIS to try and help him. And Mila gets hit by the time bubble. Yeah, this is kind of a common occurrence for Big Finish companions, but Mila dies. And then there's this interesting cut where the Doctor and Mila, once again played by Jess Robinson from Patient Zero, arrive in... Actually, I don't remember where it says they arrived in. But Mila is leaving the TARDIS, saying goodbye to the Doctor. And, she says, I've come to rely on you and the TARDIS when I'm scared, and I need to find my own footing. And then we cut to the Viyrans. Whatever happened, and I like that it's kind of ambiguous, the Viyrans stepped in and helped the Doctor and Charlie finish the job as this time bubble thing happened. And Charlie is rewriting the Doctor's memories. And this is where India Fisher absolutely shines. Because she wakes up the Doctor because she tells the Doctor what's going on, She says, I'm having the Viyrans rewrite your memories so you don't know who I am. Because I know how fragile the web of time is. And the Doctor realizes, no, these are my memories. I'm going to fight. So Charlie tells him about his future. Because she says, the only way the Viyrans can rewrite your memories, and I know you'll survive, is if I tell you about your future, is if I make it so you want your memories rewritten. And it's just one of those really bittersweet, devastating companion exits that I love so much. It's, like Ann Kelso's in the Fourth Doctor Adventure Series 8. I love bittersweet companion exits. And at the end, I didn't mention this, but there is an in media res opening to this story where the Doctor is on this planet that I think they say throw parties. And he meets someone, and he says, he came here once with a friend, and he's thinking about her. And then we cut back to the scene at the end of the story, and it ends with, goodbye, Mila. Patient Zero is probably my second Patient Zero. Blue Forgotten Planet is probably my second favorite story in this range. It's got a great atmosphere. There's really good tense moments, phenomenal performances, a great antagonist with the Viyrans, and one of the best endings to a Big Finish story I've ever heard. I'm going to give Blue Forgotten Planet a 9 out of 10. And that's it for the Six and Charlie arc. So what's coming up? I made an announcement video earlier explaining what's going to be happening October onwards. There's not going to be much Big Finish or Doctor Who content, because RWBY Volume 7 is coming out, and I'm going to be reviewing that. Which, you know, if you've seen my RWBY Volume 6 reviews, you can kind of have an idea of what to expect. Although, hopefully, I've gotten better at reviewing, so hopefully my reviews of Volume 7 will be better. That being said, because I reviewed the first release, and the second one just came out, I will be reviewing the Paternoster Gang Heritage 2. In the meantime, what did you think of Blue Forgotten Planet? Tell me in the comments below, and remember to like, comment, subscribe, click the bell in the corner next to subscribe to get notifications when I upload, share the video around and help my channel grow. In the description box below, you'll find the link to my Twitter where you can follow me and get updates on the channel, and you'll find the link to my Ko-fi where you can help support the channel. This is the Sentinel watching over geekdom, and I'll see you guys next time.